Are we recording live? We
We're
live?
live. Are we live, Pearl? Pearl.
Our new furry co-host next to
All
Toby.
right.
You ready?
I think my mic is good. Oh, stop rubbing your face on. Oh. There we go.
Hey guys, this is name pending.
This is name pending.
Rep Beck.
I'm M.
I'm Keeper.
I'm Mike.
And we're gonna hang out tonight.
And we're joined by Pearl and Cabo and October
and Bo Duke.
And Bo Duke.
Super country name. Bo Duke.
Yeah, the fluffy potato.
With feelings.
With
feelings.
With feelings. Lots of feelings.
Someone's trying to play with me. Yeah, I'm making fun of you.
Yeah, he got scared of Cabo earlier when he was trying to play.
Oh, shoot. He nabbed Cabo, and Cabo's just like, yeah. And they just rest his head on him. My head weighs more than you. Try me.
I told you my dogs were good around puppies, though.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, because it's like it was natural for them or something. Pearl, you are a big old 60-pound lap dog.
And this one thinks he's the biggest dog ever. Until your dogs come around, he's just like, I'm not big.
No, never mind. I suddenly realized things about my life.
Everyone's taller than me. My cats, though. My cats. Bloof looked like a pyramid.
She was freaked out, bro. But hey, Pearl's finally, after how many times I've come over?
She's fine now.
Finally chilled out on chasing the cats.
Yeah. She's definitely a lot better. She just needs to watch out for the one hole. She finds the one hole.
She stepped in the one hole, and her balance...
She's already weeble wobble.
Yeah, she struggles with balance, and so she falls when she puts one paw into the wrong hole. Which, don't we all?
Yeah, we always find the one hole. It always happens. Never fails.
So, hey, you know what time it is?
Book talk.
It's book talk, my favorite time. I love it. So, I had a rough week of it.
Me too.
When it came to books, specifically. I picked up...
Me too. Four chapters. That's as far as I got.
I read 4 books. 2 books. No, I mean, I read, 4.5 books. So very, very light week for me. But so 2 books from one series, 2 books from another series, right? And I'm not, because we don't have a lot of time, I'm not gonna go into the series, except for the one that I actually was enjoying reading.
Yeah.
But it was just, I don't know if they just caught me wrong, or they truly weren't like good, or
weren't
what
in
it
the
was.
mood, or...
But like, yeah, I just could not get into these things. They actually turned...
I thought you did. Yeah, we
No,
got a red light over there.
That doesn't mean anything. There's always a red light over there.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7 red lights.
But the series I actually really started reading and enjoying again was the 3rd arc for a book series, like a very long book series, right? That I've been reading. I guess it's the 3rd. It would be more accurate to call it the 3rd sequel to a series.
Okay.
Right? Because there was
So
like the
part
first...
3 of...
Yeah, there was like the 10 book
of the first part,
and then
so
the
many
10
of
book
this...
of the second, and I think
so this is the 3rd major arc story of the full...
But it's like I had made it through the first 2, and then like I hit burnout, and I was like, okay. And then now I'm just now coming back to it, right? Because I saw it pop up again. And I was like, oh yeah.
What? Coming closer? You are coming closer. Is that what you wanted?
Let's see.
Hi, Bo. You did walk all over Toby. Look at this. Freaking... I wasn't in your lap. I can't have Pearl outshow me. Sorry, bud. Pearl's definitely gonna outshow you. You're a dusty mop. So this is the book you're looking up?
Yeah, I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up. I'm trying to find like the first one. Okay, bro. I need you to chill out. Okay. So the first book in the first arc of the series is called Child of the Ghost.
I don't think you've talked about this one
I haven't.
ever.
By Jonathan Mueller, right?
Artist sounds familiar. The author.
He's put out a lot of work. He's actually put out some Linux books too.
That's probably what makes it sound more familiar.
But so in the first book, you're following this I forget the main protagonist name right now, right? It starts with like a C.
Character.
Yeah, and this kid, and she's, she's a child. She's dealing with difficulties with her mom, who is a more or less failed mage,
Okay.
right? Like she's just not powerful enough to really be accepted in mage culture.
So she has the skill, just not good at it.
No, she has no skill
Oh.
and no power, really.
Oh,
Realistically
so she was
speaking.
just trying to learn it too.
Yeah, and she's desperately like craving more power, and so she married for political reasons, only to find out that her husband didn't really have political aspirations.
It was all a show.
Yeah, and so have a kid, their daughter, and then it's from their daughter's perspective. Her mom essentially treats her daughter like shit. And sometimes will use her powers to like do like mind manipulation on like her and the other servants. And so some weirdness is going on, and the father is getting fed up with the mom shit because she's he finds out that she's in communication with some very unsavory mages,
Unsavory sorts.
like some who do like necromancy and like blood rituals and stuff like that.
Oh no, this is fine.
And so he goes to report her to what is called the Emperor's Ghost. And the ghosts are like, they're like the boogeymen.
They're the
right?
super soldiers, the
No.
SS.
No.
No?
Well, they're like spies and assassins for the Emperor.
They're Illuminati. In a
Well,
way.
kind of. It's like a secret organization, right?
Okay.
And their purpose is to keep the nobles and the sorcerers
In
and
line.
stuff, in line, and keep them from
Overthrowing
overgoing their
yeah.
mandate and stuff
Okay.
like this, right?
So I'm guessing, from what you're saying, the mages join an order, join an organization, and have to abide by certain rules put in place. Yeah, certain rules put in place. And if they
by
don't,
the Mages Guild,
yes.
right? So the mages police themselves, and like everyone who police themselves.
Yeah, I mean, that line's a little bit crooked, but we're fixing it so it doesn't need to happen outside a house. But when something happens majorly outside a house, that's when the Illuminati in a way come in.
The ghost.
Yeah,
that's
ghost.
what the organization is called.
Okay.
The ghost. The Emperor's Ghost.
That's not frightening at all.
And so she, her mother essentially mind wipes the father.
So the ghosts report directly to the king or the
emperor.
The emperor.
Yep.
Okay, continue.
So and there's spoilers for the first part of the book, right? The mother like mind wipes the father and then proceeds to sell the daughter to this says, "Hey, I'm selling you off to this blood evil sorcerer," right?
Okay.
This evil magician. And the daughter gets so pissed off that she smacks her in the face with a poker, and the mom falls and busts her head
and
dies. And so the daughter's sitting there. Her father
has no idea who she is, probably.
No, is like a vegetable. And everyone in the household was turned into a vegetable because the mom was trying to cover shit up.
So they have no idea what's happened.
Yeah. And it comes to that she gets found by who?
The ghosts.
No. The sorcerer.
The evil sorcerer.
The evil sorcerer dude finds her
and ends up training her.
No.
Oh dear God, this took a turn.
proceeds to say, "Hey, you know what's great is that this girl is a virgin, and our power is more powerful when you use the blood of virgins." And he's teaching like mages in the area who are supposed to be on the up and up, but who are not.
Yeah.
And so he's teaching them like blood rituals and stuff like that. And he's like, he would like cut on her and like cut
This
into
is
her.
through like the 10 books, right?
No, this is the first book. This is the very first book. This is the introduction.
Oh dear God. And there's 30 books roughly to this.
Yes. And so in the first book, like he's cutting on her and then he'll heal her and then he'll cut on her some more.
Blood magic, rinse, repeat.
Yep. And like he's like forming like this gem of like blood and life essence and shit like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, you can use this to keep yourself alive and to extend your lifespan and do stuff like this.
So it sounds like he's unintentionally teaching her magic,
No, she doesn't have the ability to use magic.
but she knows about this stuff.
Well, now she does. Well, I mean, obviously through her mom and everything, she does. So what it comes to is, she's being kept in a cell and everything. And she like, I think she takes a nail and she manages to like work on the door
Get through.
to
And
get through, and she goes out and she's like wandering around in the darkness in these crypts, and she keeps coming across like dead bodies, right? Like all her jailers and stuff were
are
dead.
dead.
Yeah. Just like
Ugh.
dead on the ground. And she's not quite sure why. And then she overhears some people talking. And there's these 3 people talking, and they're talking about how they poisoned everyone. And then they go, "Hey," like she obviously she's malnourished, she's
Yeah.
been injured repeatedly and stuff like this. And um they like clue into her because she stumbles into a wall or something like that. And then they go, "Oh man, we are the Emperor's ghost."
I was waiting for the ghost to come in.
Yeah. And so they end up taking her in, and they train her. And as part of the process, because she had all that blood magic like repeatedly used against her, she now has the ability to
Sense it better.
sense when people are using magic. She can't
She
use
can't
magic,
use it, but she knows. She has like a ghost, not ghost star, but like necromancer radar.
but they teach her how to be a thief, how to be a
The ghosts
spy,
do.
how to be an assassin,
Oh my
how to
goodness.
disguise herself, how to do all this stuff.
Sounds like Israel Special Forces right there.
Right? And so what, and this is during, it almost feels like the time period almost feels, I mean obviously this is a fictional world, right?
Yeah.
But the time period almost feels like during, um crap.
American War,
No,
European War,
no. Further back, way far back.
Chinese dynasty,
No, not Chinese.
Russian dynasty.
No.
Are we talking in Pacific area? Which
Yeah,
region or South America?
like England through Egypt.
Okay, we're talking about Renaissance time period.
No.
After that,
No, before.
before Renaissance, talking
Why can't I remember right now? I
Are
don't know why I'm blanking.
lords, kings over certain areas.
Emperors.
Not in Europe.
Yeah, I mean they had an empire that went all the way through
Empire, but
Europe
there's still kings in
into
Caesar,
Egypt.
Rome.
Yeah, Caesar. Yes, Rome.
Okay.
It feels like the Roman Empire times.
Okay. I mean, they had some pretty brutal
Yes,
assassins.
and there's slavery and stuff like that is around.
Yeah, we
but
win,
the
you're our
ghosts-
slave.
The ghosts are against slavery.
Yeah, we're either
ghosts-
going to kill you or we need something from you.
The ghosts are against sorcerers who don't keep themselves under control, nobles who
Extend their hand further
extend their hand further than they're supposed to, or indulge in slavery or anything
Okay.
like that. And so she gets trained into how to do this, and over the course of like, I can't ruin because there's like some overarching big bads, right? But like
Yeah.
over the course of this, she interacts with a number of sorcerers who are trying to bring about the end of the world through one means or another, and she thwarts them through intelligence and skill.
versus mage hand.
She has no magic,
Yeah.
right?
She
Has
just
no magic.
she knows with her little radar from everything she's gone through.
That's the most magic that she's got, but everything else is skill and
And that's
intelligence.
just sense. The more you're around something, the more you're gonna be
Right.
privy to it. It's quite interesting.
Oh, and it goes places. It goes places.
I don't think I'm gonna touch that book series, but it sounds good.
You probably should.
I probably will, but
You probably should, bro.
pull up my Audible. All right, what's the first book called again?
Child of the Ghost
Child of the Ghost.
by John Mueller.
Yep, Jonathan Moeller. Add to wish list. The Ghost series. 1 through 22 titles. 1 through 3. So they have book 1 through 3, book 4 through 6, 7 through 9. Then book 1, 1.5, 1.
That's
Oh
just
my.
what they have on Audible right now.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Because they don't have everything on Audible yet.
No, they don't. Well, it looks like I'll be touching that considering it's 39 hours and change on one book. Yep.
I'm just saying, bro, it's some good stuff. It is one of my it's one of my like really enjoyed series. It's hard to call it my favorite series, one of my favorite series, but it's one of those like really good.
Well, I got 2 36-hour builds of Legos, my AT-AT Walker, giant cat.
I'm just gonna keep giving you book series that you have to.
I mean,
listen
I'll
to.
just listen to it and I'll GoPro footage, stop, capture, little time lapses.
I feel like we need more GoPros,
Do you need more GoPros?
but not 8s.
No, I don't want to do an 8 again.
Man,
If anything, I'll go older.
no,
No, for time lapse, I will.
no.
The old square ones are great for time lapse.
Yeah, but you can't plug them into the computer.
Oh, you're right. They have the little memory cards. I'd probably, at that point, I'd just probably buy a Max or a 10. I think we're at 12 now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just get a fucking 12, bro.
realistically, it's going to happen. I mean, I've definitely splurged this month already on.
I've splurged too much. I need to take a step back.
It's going to have to wait at least 2 months.
I actually should wait on any more splurging until the end of the contract.
When's your contract up?
September.
Yeah, no. Ours, we just re-upped ours, but yeah, I don't know. This month I spent $600 on the portable AC for a temporary fix. Again, throwing money at something to prolong it. Still waiting on renovations, and we'll do a video on that one.
Yeah, your renovations, bro.
I understand his perspective. Like, he got fucked over by his contract.
No, he got proper fucked.
And I know him. He's a brother. He's a good friend of mine. So my house is livable and I can use everything in my house. That's fine. Are there things out of place? Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm helping a brother. He's helping me. Lower cost. But I still want my fucking house back.
Yeah,
and
no,
he
I'm
knows,
with you, bro.
And he's more or less the one always going, bro, I just want to give you your fucking house back. I was like, I know.
And he's good people.
He is. So realistically, next week, he finally got more people back on his team again after the last ones screwed him over.
Proper screwed him over.
Well, so he's a good old boy. He's Hispanic, grew up in the slums. He made something of himself. He made a company, got heavy into drugs, and then backed up. He was like, he gave it to his partner. He's like, look, I can't right now because I'm just going to spend all the money on drugs.
Yep.
Went to a rehab, got all fixed up, tried to come back to that company, and dude screwed him over there. He was like, nope, you're out. You've been out for 6 months. Yeah, but I was fixing my life. Jumped over to build a new one, working at apartment complexes, doing all the bells and whistles. Did really good, made a name for himself here. Then branched out on his own again and made a company about pre-COVID, a little bit during COVID. And that's his current company that he's been working with. And he's Hispanic, family's from Mexico. Like, he understands coming over legally and all that. And people will come over, and because he's Hispanic and has connections there, he hired 2 Argentinian folks. Not a lick of English, which he was fine with. He was like, but you're working, you're learning.
Yeah. No, because he was trying to do them solid, right?
They stole $2,000 worth of tools.
2,000 fucking So this is
But he'd even care about that. He was like, "Look, I trained you, I paid you, and then you still steal from me?" It's like, "Come on. Like, really?" And then you have your girlfriend call me, and it was like, trying to ask for more money? Like,
what?
I paid you for the last week, and you didn't even show up. So, I understand everything he's going through business-wise. As a customer, I'm not happy, but
As a brother,
as a brother, I understand. It was like, "Okay, I get it. Fix your stuff. Fix my house. We'll get through it." Because realistically, as the overarching contractor, he's
like
really
I have
good.
seen I have seen his work when he is overseeing the work, and it's solid. It looks fantastic.
And I still would recommend him because he is anal about things. Like, I'll see something, I was like, "Oh, that's good." Like shower, perfect example. Shower towel. I was like, I mean, it looks like an accent wall in the shower.
Yeah.
He was like, "Nope, I don't like it." They tore down the whole wall again, put up new tile. Like, I mean, okay. I don't I don't see the same nitty-gritty onesie twosies that you do. My wife does, and you do, so it's good you two can talk.
Yeah.
I just want it operational and looking good.
In the middle of the night, you mean like all the time?
All the You want up?
Hey, we really need to make these holes bigger.
I know.
Ugh. No, that's the first time you've heard that, but
It's not the first time. I mean, shoot, there's even the defense of my penis earlier today.
have we talked about that on podcast?
I don't think we have talked about this.
So I noticed
No, you have a theory that
I-
is very quickly being proven
it's being
true
proven.
across the entire spectrum of dating women, including Ginger.
Yes. So Ginger was the first one to be like, "Oh my
Oh
god,
my
I did."
goodness.
So I have this theory that it just appeared because being a guy and a bro, we make fun of each other's penis size
All the time.
all the time.
Millimeter Peter.
Yeah.
And we always make the joke is like, "Oh, I got the tiniest
Yeah,
penis."
yeah. It's
And
just
we
one of
always
those
joke,
things.
"No, mine's tinier." And
But what I've noticed is that the moment that I make fun of one of my friends' penises, that their wife,
partner,
girlfriend, partner will appear out of the ether
Poof.
to defend their penis and talk about how large it is. Like magic.
He's a grower, not a shower.
Yeah, like every single fucking time. And so, I mean, I brought this up and I brought it up with Ginger, and then like I'm at her house and I made fun of her partner's penis and she jumped it and she went, "Oh man, I just did the
I
thing."
just did the thing. It's true.
And I put it out to him. It like he's started really picking up on it because his wife does it all the time.
So now intentionally, I'll be like, "Man, I got a small penis." And
She
Michael,
did it earlier today.
she did it earlier today because we were talking about meds and medicine and then sex, and I was like, "Oh, that was fun." And it was like, me and Mike always joke about putting your dick in crazy, and she was like, "Yeah, the other night and apparently you busted your load, and then it was just, and it fell out." And I think you made the comment, or I made the comment. I was like, "Yeah, it's that tiny."
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, "No, it was large a little bit ago."
But it's like magic
Without fail.
every time. And so I keep testing.
theory.
Well, I keep being conscious of it because I don't really have to test anything of it because I'm always going to make fun of the penis size of my friends
Always, yeah,
every single time.
without fail. I mean, you have to.
It's just what we do.
It is what we do. I mean, we got that crude humor. We got all the jokes. It's how we just talk to each other.
Okay, but now that we're done with that, I did want to talk briefly about video games.
All right,
So,
I'm still in Helldivers as much as you're not because automatons came back.
I need to jump back in. Actually, I was thinking about that the other night. I was gonna message you, but then I was like, but I really want to play Vampire Survivor.
Was this your grunge night where you're just like, I'm surviving off of hate and caffeine?
I mean, it wasn't that. It was just
Was it the same night?
no.
Oh, okay.
This was just a. I'm just wanted to just sit um and just like
Sit in nostalgia.
well, I mean, have you played Vampire Survivor? Yeah, no, I mean, it was just I just wanted to like grind through some fucking enemies, right?
I had a
Just
buddy that was so much in vampires. Our whole D&D campaigns for like 3 years were vampires.
no, I
Or
meant you play
yes,
the game, right?
yes.
Okay. Which
You
has like nothing to do with vampires.
correct. But it had the
By the
word.
way, it has co-op, by the way.
I did not know it had
It does
co-op.
have co-op.
Is it
So
on Steam?
it is on Steam.
Okay.
And is
Because I have it on GOG. I have to rebuy it on Steam.
I mean, I was going to bring it up because you have the Steam Deck.
Jess has a Steam Deck too. But back to Vampire. I will totally play co-op.
Um,
I'm so game with that and Barony.
it has like in-person co-op.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, it's like designed for in-person co-op.
I want to get for the Steam Deck. It's called Screen Cheating or Screen Peeking is the game. So I can put it on the Steam Deck, throw 4 controllers on it, because you don't know where you
I've
are.
heard about that game. Yeah.
Love the game. Played it with my brother-in-law and his sister-in-law. And oh my goodness, the game endorses screen peeking. It's the only way.
Because that used to be the thing back during 007, right? Is
Oh
like,
yeah,
"What are you screen cheating?" In fucking
you knew
Halo
someone was
2
coming around the corner.
or OG Halo.
OG
Pearl,
Halo,
what is
Halo
with that
2.
stance?
I'm stretching.
Yeah, right.
I'm stretching, Dad. Just let me stretch.
But no, I going into video games, I actually wanted to talk to you because Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Part 2 of the Final Fantasy VII remake came out.
Okay. Someone was talking about it, but I haven't invested hardly any time into Final Fantasy.
So do you like JRPGs?
Yes and no. The last JRPG I continue to play is um, Jagged Alliance, Jagged Alliance 2,
Okay.
and Might and Magic 7 for Blood and Honor. That's about it.
Well, I'm a Final Fantasy 7 or I'm a Final Fantasy fanboy, right?
You're a buff. Calm down. You're not even a fanboy. Fanboy's below. Buff's above. You talk about Final Fantasy pretty consistently, which is fine. You at least know what you like. Versus my brother is like, well, what games you guys playing? No, we're playing Satisfactory. All right, I'll buy the game. Like he just wants to be around people playing games right now. He will get into his niche eventually. Okay, bro.
Are we still on target?
Yeah, she didn't touch it.
Okay. Um
Final
but
Fantasy, they just
so
released.
I was playing through the part 1 again, right? Because I had played through it all the way on PS4 and I've got it on PS5, but the save data from PS4 doesn't transfer to PS5.
It should
It
have.
did not.
That game didn't do
It's
it.
dependent on the game.
I know it was game dependent.
Yeah, it was not on this game, it did not.
That
Because I
sucks.
transferred all of my PS4 save data, and a bunch of games did not accept that.
Yeah, Steam just did that with Fallout 4.
Yeah.
It for some reason I got to look more into it, but it didn't transfer my 100 level character to the Steam Deck, even though it's through Steam.
That's
But
weird.
but it transferred Wolf's account on Steam to the Steam Deck, which is a level 2, because he just started playing Fallout 4. And then just started playing Fallout 4. I was like, why is Wolf here? I was like, he started playing Fallout 4. Because the TV show just released.
Yeah.
So, but Final Fantasy, last one I played was 6.
Yeah.
So that's a while ago.
Dude, I'm telling you, if for nothing but visuals,
Oh, they've always had
yeah, but
amazing.
like, and I was super into Final Fantasy 7, right? Like,
Well, Final Fantasy got me into Soul Calibur.
okay.
Like the visuals of it, the finishing moves, the attacks. So I can totally agree, hands down.
I'm just saying that, like, although here's the problem, right? You're changing a little bit, but it is very like story based. So you'd have to accept the fact that it's story based.
I mean, Soul Calibur has a story.
Yeah, that's like saying Mortal Kombat has a story.
No, Soul Calibur did touch on
Pearl,
actual story
no girl.
the same way Super Smash Bros. Touched on story.
Anyways, getting back to the game.
Final Fantasy.
So Final Fantasy VII Remake, I was starting to do a playthrough because I wanted to carry over like my save data to the part 2, right?
Yeah.
Pearl, come here. Come here. Come here. I'm going to finish. Oh,
I wasn't distracting you this time.
oh no, it's Pearl. There we go. Are you comfy? Man, it's a little tight on the back.
Yeah, no, my lapdog is not tight on the back. Your lapdog, on the other hand, is another body.
It's a good thing I'm such a big person.
Super tall.
But so I was like, okay, well I'm gonna play through it, the part 1, so that I can get the save data from part 1 into part 2. Then I'm talking to one of my coworkers about it today. And he's like, nah, bro.
Don't tell me save editor. I don't want to hear it.
No, nothing carries over from part 1 to part 2. So you can get to level 50, max out your summons, max out your materias, do all this stuff, and it doesn't carry over to part 2.
Interesting. That's weird.
He says, "Bro, it doesn't fucking matter. You get so much shit, it more than makes up for it."
Okay.
But I was moderately disappointed.
I would even say offended. Like, because it was the same thing with Helldivers 1 to 2. They were talking about Helldivers 2 releasing eventually, and well, if you were level 50 on Helldivers 1, you get all these bonus things. And then they're like, hey, just
Can you
kidding.
get a photo of this?
They're like, hey, just kidding. All you got to do is spend money to pre-order for the next one.
Right.
And I was like, you're telling me I just got to spend $10, $15, $20 to get everything I need for the next one? That kind of sucks.
Yeah, it does.
I've invested ample time on the first game, and all I got to do is spend $20. So I totally understand that.
Understand?
Understand.
I
Well, you know what? I just got a message from a cop buddy of mine that will be on, at least be able to be on podcast for 30 minutes. So he might join us on the third part.
Ooh.
He's going to drop off the car he borrowed because
Ooh.
their car had issues. Like tranny died in the middle of the freaking stoplight. So we might have cop talk.
I'm excited.
I'm excited.
But anyways, yeah, so I was a little bit upset to find out that like
Part 1 doesn't transfer over to
part
2.
1 doesn't transfer over to 2. So but I mean, okay, so that gives me an excuse to not finish part 1 again.
And that's what I hate. It's like, at least just give me something. Give me an outfit.
Well, it does give you something, right? Like it says that if you get so much save data, you get this summon materia or you get this summon materia, and it's like, but that's it. That's all.
So there's still some value in completing, just not
It's
the
not enough
same
for me to
value.
it's not enough value for me to actually complete it.
I mean, I get that, and I'm 100% completionist for a lot of games.
I can't do it, bro.
We finally have, me and Justice have one achievement left for Helldivers 2 until they update and throw another shit ton of achievements on there. So I get it. I would still probably play through it knowing I could get this little extra bonus that is even
Dude,
cosmetic or
I'm trying
visual.
to tell you though, I would 1000% suggest you do Final Fantasy VII Remake just because it's so gorgeous and it's such a fun play.
I am a slut for cosmetics, though. I really am. If it looks nice, I like it.
It is gorgeous.
I mean, let's be real. We just bought a freaking outlet surge protector.
Because it looks better.
It was like, oh, cool, that has USBs, and it was like, white or black? Do we want to see it in the dark, or do we not want to see it in the dark? Because there'll be a light on it, and be all the room for all the plugs, but it looks nice.
Although I'm slowly getting sold off of your new light switches.
I like them, and I liked them more when like my hands are wet or my hands are bloody from a bloody nose or I stub my toe, but I can now see this little indicator in the
Yeah.
night. I have very quickly fallen in love with indicators because how many times are you looking down at the plug and just like,
Yeah.
"Ugh,"
All the time.
and you're like, okay, I covered it, so that means it's closer here. Oh, cool. First try. Love it.
Kind of like how I wish all USBs were Type C now.
Well, I mean, I have Type C outlet chargers now on
Oh, I'm going to be getting those
I love them.
for my
Oh, yeah.
tobacco area.
I have them in the kitchen. I have them on the bar where pretty much anyone would actually sit, not throughout the house, just the important areas, and then in mine in Ruth's bathroom.
Yeah.
So that way, whether you're doing your hair dryer, and the cool thing is they're the surge protector ones. Um
GFCI.
they're the GFCI ones, and they have a little light on there.
There is some electrician out there right now who heard me say that and they're cringing on the inside.
I mean,
I
whatever.
don't think it's GFCI. I think it's like GC.
GCFI.
Yeah.
Uh, so I sent all my old plugs up to my mom, and my mom's like, "Okay, well, I'll change them out." I was like, "Okay, well, all you gotta do is this, and it's very simple to pull out a outlet and see how you should do it." She was like, "I'll watch a YouTube video." So I called her the other day. I was like, "Did you ever watch the YouTube video?" She's like, "No, it's like a 5-minute video, and I just haven't watched it to change all the plugs." I was like, "Mom, it's very simple, and you having a doctorate, you're gonna feel really dumb after watching this." She was like, "Yeah, but I want to see someone else do it." Like, I've changed some of your plugs because I was annoyed that you didn't have some of them in the dining room.
Yeah.
So I bought some when we were up there a couple times ago and installed them in her. I literally just turned it off, changed them all. I was like, "Look, Mom, you have USB and USB-C plugs." She's like, "Well, I don't have anything with USB-C." Well, a year ago, she started getting USB-C stuff. She was like, "I love it. I can sit in, which is now the den, and we can sit there and I can plug in my USB-C cord and I have charge capability." And I was like, "Hmm, it's almost like this
Yeah.
was planned."
Hey, I've got wireless chargers all over the place. I've got a wireless charger next to my bed, next to my recliner,
Okay.
and next to my fucking desk.
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple wireless chargers. I enjoy them.
My dad was a huge fan of the wireless charger whenever I got it for him because he always struggled plugging it in. Ask Daddy.
I think cords changed recently because now I'm seeing the braided cords like these
Yeah,
everywhere.
everywhere. And do you know
Everywhere.
why? Because everyone got tired of the piece of shit ones that fucking kinked all
Broke.
the time and broke. And
I would buy the G2 Pilot pen so I could take out the springs and I would put them on my cables consistently with the old cables.
once braided cords became a thing, I only purchased braided cords.
Oh, we got just the new iPhone, blah, 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 because her other iPhone was old. She had the 15, she jumped to 15, whatever. I don't
Yeah.
care. iPhone, latest, greatest. But they're like, "Oh, well, you can get more of a discount if you spend another like $8." So I was like, "Okay, well, what's around $8?" Nothing. Okay, what's around $15? An 8-foot braided USB-C cable. Sold. Do I need one? No. Could I use an extra one? Hell
I just
yes.
buy them in fucking packs. It's like every time I like struggle to find a cable,
I buy
I
it.
like hop online, buy 4 of them, minimum 6 foot, call it good every single time.
Yep, six
Although
is the minimum.
I did purchase
Unless it's in my car, I'll buy a 3-foot
I
one for my
I
car.
did purchase Cat 8 and I purchased way too long Cat 8 for my office. So I've got like big bundles of Cat 8 sitting on my bench.
You talking? We got bundle over there. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you get IT guys to do anything. I have 2 boxes, and 2 boxes of just cables, all the way
I
back to USB A's.
I am so proud of myself because I did a purge back when I was living in my apartment, so I only have half a box.
I mean, all mine are current cables and stuff that I still use, and they're all properly wrapped. They're
Yep.
all It's anal to the point that I know Jess went in there.
Because it's a clusterfuck?
I mean, they're all still wrapped in at least 2 spots, so they can't get too messy. And they get messy, but not as messy as you wouldn't have a rat's nest anymore.
Right.
You just have a clusterfuck. And going through this, it was like, Jess, we're in here. Oh yeah, I was looking for a USB-C.
They're everywhere.
I was like,
all over the house.
it was on the top of the pile. Yeah, but I wanted this color one. I was like, oh my God.
No, I should put that further away.
Yeah, IT guys, cables, and
Oh God, we are the worst. And every single IT guy I've ever talked to has a box of cables somewhere. We've all got them. Do you know I still have my original external hard drive that I asked for Christmas?
I have 2.
Guess how big it is?
I have a 64 gigabyte one, and I have an 8 gigabyte external hard drive.
Ooh, mine's fancy. It's 300 gigs.
Oof.
Do you know why I asked for it? Because I wanted my uncle's music collection back in the day. Back when I was a teenager. Oh,
I found my old iPod Classic.
Oh, did you really?
I have 2 of them. One is in my car hooked up so I can connect to it anytime, and the other one I found in the box going through all my cables, and I was like, oof.
See, I only had a CD player that could play CDs with MP3s on it.
I found my old MP3 player.
I did not have an MP3 player, thank you.
I reacquired one. Football camp was amazing technologically wise. No, we gambled and someone threw it in there. I was like, I'm the best person at poker now.
No, I was that guy who was always wearing a hoodie in school. Also because school was always cold.
School what?
It was always cold.
It always freezing.
It's freezing. Well, part of it is because you're sitting still for so long.
I could see that, yeah.
But the other part of it is because they had those industrial AC units that are fucking pumping.
Yeah.
You're trying to cool, like, I don't know about your school, but
it was
my
a
school
fucking
had
morgue.
like thousands of fucking people in it.
It was a morgue. We had 8,000 people in my high school.
Yeah.
It was cold all the time.
And so I would walk around and I had my AC/DC hoodie.
Akadaka.
And I had my CD player that was in my pocket, and then a hole punched through the back of the pocket, and
so you could put the earbuds in the inside.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I did find one of my old CD players.
Are y'all comfy?
Which was it was rumble safe, is what they so you could run
oh,
with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you had this little plastic thing you attached to the side, and you could run with it. Nope, that never happened.
No,
I just had a beanie inside, and then I put another shirt in my hoodie, and I would just run like that. Freaking doggos. Dogs are too good for us.
They put up with so much. Look, Cabo had enough.
But what got me looking further for my CD player was I found 800 CDs, and I was like, I'm curious where my car CD stack was, where you'd put it on your sun visor.
Yeah.
Plain.
Wait for it. This is what you get for living next to an airport.
I don't.
No, you don't.
I live in the airway traffic of it. But
I'm scratching your face.
It could hold 16 CDs.
I'm scratching your face.
And I started looking through them. I was like, wow, I was definitely one of those metalheads.
I had spindles.
I do have
CDs
spindles
that I burned myself. And my computer that I had was the old compact computer that my parents had.
Yep.
And they gave it to me. And so there was a CD burner on it, and it took like
forever, hours.
18 hours to burn a CD. And
of like 12
it
tracks.
would work, and sometimes it wouldn't.
And shoot, we had that, and then
I get so cracked up thinking back on it too, because like with that computer, like I got my parents to allow me to like get like a Wi-Fi card on it and like get internet on it, and my dad's like, no porno. And so what is the first thing teenage me does is I look up porno. Well, his buddy had put like a keylogger or some kind of tracking software on it. And he's like, yeah, he was on all these porn sites. I was like, obviously I was. I'm a teenager.
So 2 things. I found my giant CD stack, like the accordion file of all the CDs.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I'm old. And then I found my DVD one. I was like, oh dear God. Because I had all mine from Saudi Arabia area where it was like, oh yeah, and you see someone with a camera shaking it and
Oh God, the shaky
like all the
cameras.
horrible ones. Well, the funniest part is I have those same DVDs, but actual DVDs.
Yeah.
Like you acquire all these from overseas. And the other thing, Texas passed a law for porn.
Oh, they did. Yes.
You actually have to, because I want to talk about this. You actually have to log into the site, prove your identification, prove who you are. So I was curious about this. I was like, how far did they go? So I looked through it. I was like, okay, all the sites are blocked, but they didn't do the full effort. You can still go different ways and get into it. And I was like, so they're just trying to keep you honest.
It's not just Texas though; it's the United States.
Yes,
Because, I mean,
it was a big age thing.
yeah, and because I got taken by surprise by it because like I don't often have to look up porno.
No, but
Right.
every once in a while you get
Every
an
once
itch.
in a while, I need to do
You need to do the deed. You need to release some stress.
like some stress or whatever. And so apparently it was like 2 months after this had gone into effect that I find out about it, and I'm asking some of my coworkers about it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's been in effect for a while." And I was like, "Seriously?
I didn't know this.
I had no idea."
Like I know I signed the petition years ago for this. I was like, yeah, I think that should be good to stop minors, like minors.
No, I completely disagree.
Nope, I signed for
I
it.
completely 1000% disagree
That's
with
fine.
you. I think you're wrong. I know you're wrong. You're fucked up. Fuck you. I don't
Nope.
want this.
I want it to be tracked if you're looking at porn.
Do you know why I disagree?
Because this is a doorway into every other thing.
Well, that too. But the fact of the matter is that teenagers are always going to find a way to look at pornography.
Correct.
They're always going to find a way. So why are you trying to stop it?
This only keeps you honest if you go to the site. If you go to images, you can see it all day, every day of the week.
So why are you fucking trying?
Why did they half-ass it? Like, if you're going to do something, whole-ass it. Don't half-ass it.
You know what? Fuck you.
Nope.
Hey, you communist bastard, okay? Comrade, why don't we track everything?
Hello,
and fucking,
comrade.
yeah.
No, I do think porn should be monitored, even if it's
No,
by
I
someone.
don't think anything on the internet should be monitored. I think it should all be free and available.
Well, how do you keep younger eyes from viewing it?
I don't care about younger eyes.
I do.
You know who that's on? That's on the fucking parents.
That is, and
And
they
guess what?
should
It's not even
totally
going
be
to
able
stop
to.
them. Because when I was
Your
fucking
friends
12,
and
we found a magazine on the side of the road and we
Yeah.
brought it in. We looked. So shut the fuck up. You're not going to stop it. It's always going to be a thing.
I mean, you're not wrong. It's going to happen. But realistically, it should be the parent. At the best part, a parent should do the best they can to limit.
Stop putting your morals inside other people's houses because you wouldn't want other people putting their morals inside your house.
Well, if the whole point of voting for things is for all of us to come to a consensus, and if majority wins,
This is how prohibition became a thing because of people like you.
well, if majority wins, that's the way our melting pot works.
And well, fuck you.
Well, this is America. Look, we don't agree on everything, and
No, we certainly don't.
that's gonna be fine. When it happened, someone told me about it. I was like, okay, I'll look into it. I looked into it. I was like, okay, so it's no different than a lock on a door. It's just keeping someone honest. Someone can easily go about it and look at it other ways. That's all it does. It doesn't really stop or hinder anything.
But we're forced to go into intermission now.
Yep, we are forced to go in intermission. Catch you guys on the flip side. Cool.
All right, so we're back.
We're
after
back from intermission,
Long
and
intermission.
Edward has joined us.
Hi,
Edward's
guys.
here.
How's it going, guys?
He just dropped off my car because you had car issues,
Yeah,
which are
yeah.
now solved, and
Now
you're
it's
debt free,
solved,
right?
Debt free, so that's always
So
cool.
so that's a blessing in disguise, a true blessing in disguise.
It is $700 to $700, man, a month.
Well,
Yeah.
That's how much it
shoot,
was a
you're not
month.
just talking about that, but you're also talking about you're on a finite income with kids,
Yeah.
and you're a
Yeah.
cop, so you only have
Yeah,
so much.
not-
You don't
It's a
get
single income
It's a
household,
single-
right?
Yep.
Single income.
How many kids?
I have. I like to say people say 87, but it's 4. 4 kids. The
That's
number
still
grows.
a lot
Yeah.
of kids.
It's a lot of kids, man. It's
but
a
you're
lot
also
of
not
kids.
paid what you're worth as a cop.
No.
So-
it's been a unique.
You're debt free
So-
now.
I-
You have 4 kids, and I really want to touch on your occupation because
I actually had something I
Oh,
wanted to
go ahead.
ask an
Go ahead.
actual cop of,
Go ahead.
because me and my coworker, we were talking about this, and we feel like cops spend too much time in the field.
Agreed.
So,
Yeah.
like, for the Army, we'll send you on deployment for so long, and then we'll have you cycle back to the States for so long. And then if we need you
Yep.
back out there, we'll send you back out. So we were like, okay, well, cops should be out for 3 months, a month, whatever. And then they should cycle back to training, office environment, whatever, to get you out of the shit.
Yeah.
Because I know my uncle, he was a firefighter, and he was very aware of the fact that they were just in the shit and they saw the worst of humanity.
Yeah.
Like some of the stories my uncle told me about his firefighter and EMT career is just awful.
Yeah, man, it's bad.
So do you think that would benefit police across the nation, is if you could cycle them in and out?
I think I think when you're talking about cycling that particular job, the biggest thing that comes to my mind is manpower, because right now we're already spread pretty thin as it is.
So I have a counter argument for that.
Go ahead.
So manpower, because there's so much crime going on,
Yeah.
and you feel like you're so spread out, right? My take on it is you're not going to, especially in the big cities, and especially with the dense populations, you're not going to be able to chase everything down.
Yeah, of course.
So the way I perceive it, and you're going to have to correct me on this, the way I perceive it is that the cops are trying to chase everything. Instead of saying, this is the baseline for everything, and everything that comes in that we can chase down, we're going to chase this down to the nth degree. And then, yes, stuff is going to fall through the cracks. However, outside of that, the things that we do chase down, the criminals that we do chase down, the thefts that we chase all the way down, the car thefts that we chase all the way down because we take the time to run it all the way down, those act as the example, which ultimately, as acting as the example, reduces it because they get the punishment because you have the full evidence. Now, this is my thought process on it. Now, tell me where I'm wrong.
So I think that your thought process is good, but it's a thought process, one that's based on, I think, a person's perception of how they think this job works. And I say that with the most respect.
No.
You know?
Disrespect me if you need
no,
to.
seriously, here's real.
So
There's no disrespect taken. We're all good friends.
yeah, so
Earlier, we had a disagreement on something.
when you talk about things like what officers chase, what they find, we're obviously in Texas, we're obviously close to San Antonio. They have a DA that just releases it, like just cites and releases for everything. Which,
Yeah, we talked about that.
which
a couple
is
podcasts.
huge. I'm not saying that I'm out to go find everyone that has under 2 ounces of marijuana, because that's not why I got in this field at all. But I think if I find someone that legitimately stole or hurt someone, it needs to be handled appropriately. Does that make sense? Like the
Yes.
punishment needs to fit the
So-
crime.
Yes,
If-
I agree with you.
If we move more towards focusing on
It's-
more violent crimes, that would change a lot of things versus just.
it starts at the top, right? So like officers are a lot of times to another person's bad actions.
So military's expeditionary force in a way.
Exactly.
Pearl.
So
Come on, girl.
When it comes to something like this, you have to look at, okay, well, I just arrested John Smith for stealing, and it was stealing, let's say, over $1,000, what have you.
What
and
is Texas's?
so typically you can get arrested for anything over $100.
Oh,
If
I
you-
thought it was like $500-$600 was
No.
grand something.
No. So you could, I can arrest John Smith if he walks into a store and steals over $100. If it's under $100 and he has prior convictions, I can arrest him.
That makes sense. Why
Yeah,
a bunch of
so-
like grocery stores changed everything from $100.99, so
So-
that way they can charge for that. But then you got a coupon discount at the.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if
But
I'm
they-
understanding your argument, you're stating that the first step is not to correct the actions of the police. The first step is to correct the actions of the judicial system,
Yeah.
because the correcting those actions corrects the actions of the police.
100%. Because it gives, because if you have, I'll give you an example. Let's say that,
I did whatever.
yeah, let's say that you were drinking and driving, and let's say that we live in a town where they don't like to arrest, like the DA will not prosecute you for drinking and driving, because technically drinking and driving until you hurt someone is a victimless crime, right?
Yeah.
That's the way the attorneys
Look at it.
Look at it. Oh,
Okay.
you know, they'll give you the argument, hey, you know, John Smith, he drove drunk this one time, but who hasn't drove drunk, you know, has one or two beers in the jury right now. So they'll paint it like that. But the unfortunate aspect of that is you have young cops out here trying to enforce a broad range of crimes. And obviously I use DWI as
Being
an
the
example.
hero.
Being the hero type of mentality, wanting to stop crime. But you work for a city that doesn't support you, doesn't support your officers. That officer's like, oh, well, there's John, you know, driving drunk again, but
But the judicial system isn't
it's-
supporting.
it may break. They may cut him loose because they may think, oh well, you know, they gave him a slap on the wrist last time. Why am I going to dick with it last? Because the DWI in this case takes 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours to do on
Right.
average.
In the court system?
No, just
Just
like,
for the
just
police
for
force.
for me
Processing,
to
right?
process it between
Holy cow.
between 2 and 4 hours depending on
So
the
that's
experience
4
of the officer.
hours. You're
I'm off the
not
streets.
dealing with actual something
And
important.
that's
So-
just DWI. That's just one very crude, brief example.
So you can't like go, okay, this person has the DWI, and then you pass that off to someone.
Oh no.
Because you were the officer on
No,
scene.
we have a saying: if you catch it, you gut it and clean it.
So and I think this is where I'm kind of touching on the cycle thing, right? Because if you've got folks in the street and they're, you know, these are your
They're
guys on the
beats.
street,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and they spend X amount of time in the shit, right? And then you cycle them back out. The people who are back out can do that processing, and this has to do with, you know, bureaucracy and time management, and hour management, and stuff like this. Again, this is an idea.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a viable idea, but I'm thinking from a psychological perspective.
Oh yeah, you know, because you figure, you know,
I
I
see.
work suicides. I work very violent. I've worked homicides before. I've been in situations where,
Crimes across the board.
the-
You've reached the full spectrum.
you know, so from a psychological standpoint, I've gotten really good at masking a lot of things and pushing it down, and then finding a healthier outlet later on, you know, in the week to release that, however that may look.
a coping mechanism.
A coping mechanism. And I would love, you know, if for my schedule, if I worked 2 weeks on and then you have 2 weeks off, just that break in time, I think would be enough to be like, oh, okay, I can de-stress from this.
Get your head back
I can get my
together.
head
Well,
back.
even if they jump down to, so a couple government agencies, a couple government contractors go, it's called Panama schedule. 2 weeks on, 1 week off, or 2 days on, 1 day off. So we go from, in your case, if you're working 2 weeks on,
Well, I'm on the Panama schedule right now.
but if they win a true Panama schedule, you'd get a proper,
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
because a lot of people do hybrid. You see it a lot on help desk.
Yeah.
Your desk jockeys. You see it a lot in call centers, and you probably see this with your dispatchers.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Like,
'Cause
your
sitting
dispatchers-
down for 12 hours a day. You
And-
know, how good is that for your body?
So you have 12 on, 12 off, 12 on, 12 off, 12 on, 12 off. And then you have 2 days off. So you have 2 days to deal with all your stuff that you're dealing with, but it doesn't cover everything. You still have appointments. If you have a family, you have shit that's going on.
Yeah, because like And to double back to Mike's question, about the productivity and the enforcement of stuff, we hear stories all the time from San Antonio where, guys they don't want to work because why would they risk themselves getting in a fight, getting in a shooting with a turd when their job and their life is going to be possibly up for grabs. They may be fired for that, whether it's a whether it's a good shoot or not.
Yeah. Do they have body cams?
So they have body cams, but you have to remember that
and even then, it doesn't matter because they're probably going to get a lawsuit put against them.
I
And they're
mean, we
probably
saw
going
in Colorado there was a body cam footage.
Yeah.
The cop was completely in the end. He did everything by the book, verbatim. Like, you want to talk about rule Nazi? Did everything proper. Taser, taser, taser. Tased the dude. Dude was high on something. Taser, taser, taser. Then pulled the tasers out of himself. Ran inside, grabbed an assault rifle, actual assault rifle, not modern day everything assault rifle. Came out, shot at the ground first, and then he was put down. He was a threat to the life of the officers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think so much of this, when you talk about at the advent of George Floyd, when all that crap went down, and you go even further back into incidences like Rodney King, you have the public perception of law enforcement
Putting the man down.
skewed because was Rodney King wrong? Yeah, obviously it was wrong. Was George Floyd wrong? Yeah, obviously those situations was Uvalde wrong? Yes, obviously. And we do a job where we're in a fishbowl, and everyone watches what we do, and we have to make split-second decisions where a normal person can have days, if not weeks, to make a decision.
You're reacting off a decision.
I have to react based on someone's action.
Taking this stuff into account, would additional continuous training as you progress through your career be beneficial?
100%.
Does the academy need a wider breadth of training?
So I would say yes to both.
Okay.
I would say yes to both. So in certain countries, the Polizei in Germany, for example, it takes, I want to say, more than a year.
I thought it was a 2-year pipeline.
It's a very long process.
It's like 18 months to 2 years.
You're only as good as what you're training and what you're taught to be, right? And I think when it comes to law enforcement in general, I really believe that, a lot of training on the front end, and then having departments be accountable for the training in the years continuing. I've been very blessed to be a part of an agency where, we have monthly trainings, 4 hours plus, that are mandatory, that are paid, that are either tactics training or we're going over the.
Hold on, I want to stop you right here. Are your trainings not paid?
Some places, yeah, they don't pay for training.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So I work at this job, and I have to upkeep this. I understand a contract entity. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand someone that isn't part of this organization. Someone is working outside. You're telling me I work for this organization, and essentially I have to pay for my own training.
Yeah, that's very common in law enforcement, first responder fields, from fire to EMS
So,
to police.
I have another question related to this. Are y'all transferable from city to city, or do you have to retrain every time you go somewhere new?
Depends on the city.
Because I know my cousin, who's a firefighter, cannot move cities without retraining in an academy from the ground up.
So you switched organizations. You went from one organization to another.
Within the same state.
Within the same state, yes. But how easy was it switching from A to B?
Very easy, only because it wasn't a massive municipality. Let's say that I went from small town A to San Antonio.
So let's say you went from Houston to Dallas.
Yeah, you have to go to Dallas's academy.
Really?
Yeah, you'd have to go.
That's
Holy
some
cow!
bullshit.
Because I know firefighters.
Small towns operate differently. So let's say that I went from Helotes to Universal City. I wouldn't have to go through any academy. I've been a cop I've been trained. I'd have to go through a small field FTO
retraining, understanding their
policies and procedures. That's it.
So would, what's the word I'm looking for where it's the same? Would making it the same training across the board, at least for the state, make it better?
So it is the same training, but there's certain aspects that certain cities want to push more than other cities, and their human resources departments are going to want to be accounted for versus another city's human resources. It gets very bureaucratic. Very bureaucratic.
From what I'm understanding, politics has jumped so much into crime fighting, crime stopping, that it's got to the point that if I want to go from Baltimore to Waldorf, I'm talking Maryland, I'm going from Baltimore, I care about white on black crime more than I care about white on white crime. So it's become political.
Yeah. I mean, because you figure like the officers aren't the ones that write the laws any more than the
Correct.
soldiers are the ones that make the political calls on the battlefield, right?
Oh no, that's what
the issue is. There shouldn't be political calls on the battlefield.
And we have the same issues the issue is in military, we hate our mandatory training. We hate our monthly training because it's done so often. And it's rinse repeat of the same thing.
Well, and I'm going to touch on something here. It's part of the reason that we had so much trouble in Vietnam, in Iraq, in Afghanistan. Is
Why do you
because
say that? I guess I'm trying to
so
understand y'all's famous reference.
what was happening what should happen, in my opinion, what should happen with the military is that you set the boundaries, you set the rules of engagement, you release the dogs of war, and once the dogs are gone, you can't do anything. You say, this is the end goal. This is the winning. This is where you win. And once you win, that's it. And these are your rules of engagement. That's it. But instead, the rules of engagement were constantly changing and shifting as the politicians got involved. And every time the politicians got involved,
it changed it.
Man,
soldiers died.
Because we had hate and discontent. We were only allowed to lay hate and discontent when someone fired on us first. So we know individual A has a gun. He's pointing it at us, but he hasn't shot. We can't shoot till they shoot. Rules of engagement. Geneva Convention only applies to military individuals, not civilians. So they shoot at us first. Now we can lay hate and discontent
Now they've
back.
shot at us and they've dropped 3 of us, but that doesn't matter. It only matters that the optics on it looks like, oh man, they were returning fire in self-defense.
So it's the exact same thing with us, man. There was an incident a few years ago at a Mexican restaurant in San Antonio where an SAPD officer got a call for some disturbance that took place in a drive-through, and the officer walks up to him. The guy gets out and holds a cell phone the way you would hold a gun, and it's night. This is like midnight, right?
So it's hard to distinguish.
Just exactly goes like that, picks the gun up like that, picks the phone up like that. Officer at night reacts, shoots and kills him. The officer got acquitted like it was fine, but he had to go through a year plus of
probably without
issues.
pay.
Probably got fired, a whole bunch of stuff that came down the pipeline. So you have like the letter of the law and the color of the law.
Now, that being said, there's also instances where it's very clear that the cop was in the wrong, but we had
the Acorn cop.
Not Guild. What was it called?
Not guilty.
No bill?
No, the like cop guild.
Cop guild.
Cop association. Union.
Yeah,
Like
the union.
Okay, like a
The union covers down on these cops when realistically they shouldn't be covering down.
So from what I've seen, and I definitely want you to touch on this, I've seen unions cover guilty cops because union is union. White, black, indifferent, it's a gray area. Union is very gray, and we're going to cover you because you've paid dues.
Mm-hmm.
You've paid your association dues for union. We're just going to cover you. Blanket, here's a lawyer, and we'll settle in court.
Right.
If I can be I'm going to be honest. I'm not the biggest fan of unions to an extent, right? Like when an officer dies,
unions have a place.
When someone passes away, when someone's family needs to get taken care of, but that they're great. But when you're talking about a group of people, because I've done this job for 10 years, right? This is how I make money for my family. I love this job.
I'm 12 years IT and you're 16 or 14?
There are bad apples in every bunch.
14.
So we all have tenure in our occupation.
There's bad apples in every bunch, and I think that when you talk about, a bad officer or a bad firefighter or a bad paramedic, it's one of those things where no, man, if you are a turd and you are doing some really shitty things, you need to be gone.
Yes.
You don't need to taint the rest of us because
That's not even just you guys.
you're the reason that everyone hates us right now.
You're the reason for our
and
bad
that's true
name.
for the
IT
the
too.
doctors
Oh yeah, dude.
who leave like instruments inside of patients and they get covered down on. IT folks
What are you talking? I had a
leave shit-
loose screw in my knee. A loose screw. There should have been no screws in my knee.
The pastors that rape little
No
boys,
screws?
you know.
I had no screws.
What'd you say?
I said the pastors and priests that rape kids.
Or like Joel Osteen, who's I'm gonna name drop Joel Osteen, who's like, nah, y'all can't come into my church to get away from the flooding or whatever, or you know.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks across the board, but do you care more about the people or do you care more about a policy?
I think that's the biggest thing is the people, you know.
But it's people versus policy. How do this is one thing I want to touch on. Your dispatchers across the board they're the unsung heroes of the police force, of paramedics across the board.
100%.
Like they really are, because we're talking about old lady she's dying in her household,
Yeah.
but you also have a robbery and a public shooting.
Yeah, dude,
What do you respond to first? You have an old lady dying. You have okay, maybe she has 5-10 years left. You have a public shooting, so he's dropping bodies left and right, and you have a bank robbery. It's like how
they make some calls that I would never want to make. They really do a great job with being able to funnel the calls day by day, and I think that's definitely a profession that's up there where they don't get enough credit for what they do, because we deal with the people that they're on the phone with, and we hear the calls that go out, and I make it a point to always go in my dispatcher's office and talk to them, but they have to funnel through a lot of shit, and I could say that I could not do what they do solely because the patience and the amount of professionalism that they have to have is amazing. Like
there was one I listened to the other day. It hopped up on my YouTube feeds. It was like a 1:30 clip of this woman calling in a pizza order.
Yeah.
Like you're looking. She's obviously being abused. You can hear it. You can understand it. You can hear a voice in the background.
Pearl, stop.
It is a male. You can hear it's a male voice. You can understand what's going on. And all this goes on, and she's ordering pizza through the police dispatch.
Ordering pizza.
Ordering pizza, very loosely. So I totally understand. How do you respond? Me specifically, I can't comprehend how you can respond to a call that is so extreme. What are your thoughts when you get dispatch hitting you up saying, example, marital issues in a house,
You know,
and you know there's violence.
You know there's violence, and we're getting to a call where we have a husband and wife fighting. We respond to it. We do our best to stay calm, and obviously the biggest part for us to stay calm is actually how dispatches the call. Because if they're on the call and they say, "Hey, Officer so and so, we have this call." Like if someone's amped up on the other end of the phone, it's gonna amp you up, right?
Yeah.
That's just human. So what's cool about the dispatchers is they're able to stay calm,
Level-headed.
and say, "Hey, officer, this is what's going on."
They almost remind me of like pilots when people are calling in fucking
Exactly.
fire support.
Exactly. Yeah.
Danger close.
Yeah. You have to be very calm in that job, because the rookie dispatchers, they learn that when they're amped up, they amp us up, and it becomes a very skewed situation.
Pearl,
So it's verbal adrenaline.
leave my
verbal
dead
adrenaline
cat
that comes
alone, Pearl.
Okay.
Verbal adrenaline that comes through. I think,
So in our last couple
did I
minutes,
answer your question? Okay.
that did.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think so.
want, if you could fix police force in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Go.
If you had a day to fix the police force, if you could make one policy change to fix the
And
police
see it
force,
through.
and see
All
it
the way through.
and have it be seen through.
What would you fix? What would be the biggest issue you fix? You have God rights. Fix an issue.
I would fix the judicial system, how it prosecutes the people that we arrest. That that would
Actual prosecution.
actual prosecution, actual DAs would get cleared, would get cleaned out, and replaced with level-headed men and women of whatever race you want to be, that are somewhat that are conservative to an extent where their moral law is rooted in what truly is right and what truly is wrong. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, I'm not going to say anything like, oh, well, they have to be a Christian or they have to be this. No. You don't have to be a Christian to know what's right and wrong, but you have to be a good person to know what's right and wrong. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's the biggest issue with us is right now the prosecution phase, especially in these bigger cities, that we hear some horror stories from the guys in the street. Man, they're working these cases, they're working these calls, and they know that the case they're busting their butt on may not go anywhere because the DA doesn't want to prosecute. You know, and this is a woman that was either raped or a little boy that was assaulted by his uncle, or you know, the list can go on. It's so much on the prosecution in the court level phase that'll help and hurt us. And you know, if I could add something else, I think it would be also the prison system needs to get a vast reform when it comes to things.
We're gonna have to cut it out here in a second, but I will say, if you'll cycle over and watch one of our other podcasts, because I do plan on bringing it up on another podcast, my dream for the way that we could correct our judicial system.
Yeah. Reformation.
Yes, and reformation, and what I picture as being the corrections, right? And if you want to comment on that, or if you want to show up for that one, I'd be more than happy.
I'd love to show up for that one
because I have dreams.
I would love to show up for that one.
If you're off in 2 weeks, we'll try to throw you back on. But we're gonna pause here.
Yeah. So hey, this has been Name Pending.
This is Name Pending. We'll catch you guys next week.
I'm Mike Culberson.
I'm Keeper, and this is Edward.
And we've got our
Our
furs.
furry co-host.
This is Pearl.
Bo Duke sleeping
And
partially
Cabo, and October disappeared underneath the bench
somewhere. But that's been it for us. We'll catch you on the next side.
Yeah.
Throw a comment below. I'll respond. Tickle that like
subscribe.
button because we were the first to start that one. I will claim that one. And what does Mike say?
Fuck that like button.
All right. Love you guys.